we have a bigger department, but we have a lot smaller access to large plantings of cultivated grapes. So this is a really nice way for us to sort of share our capabilities and skills. So I am heading up the enology team. There's three of us, Katie, Merle, and I. So much smaller than that huge viticulture group that you saw. We're much easier to herd. We just all like go to a bar. But like lots of good work and stuff. But I just wanted to go over what our winemaking objectives were, and like most people you talked to today, we're kind of a little bit behind even the viticulture teams because we have to sort of wait for a year of grapes to come in before we start doing our winemaking. But we do have a plan, so we've got our work cut out for us. Overall, our goal was to develop and optimize winemaking practices to sustainably produce and market distinctive high-quality wines from cold climate cultivars. And as you kind of heard mentioned bits and pieces throughout the last hour or so, we want to optimize our sensory profile, which means to some extent also defining our sensory profile that we want to see. Acid reduction, of course, is the elephant in the room that we always are dealing with. To some extent, suppressing hybrid notes in some cultivars, especially in years where we have less than optimal ripening, so green and herbaceous characters. And then balancing our tannin profiles, whether that's through extraction methods or enological additions. Lots of pots available for that as well. And sort of the piece that we don't direct or don't directly address in this, but that is certainly a lot of importance when we are trying to talk to our various regions about making wines with these new cultivars, is whether the effects that we see are varietal or regional. And it's only been in the past few years, as the cultivation of these cultivars has spread, that we're able to look at grapes grown in any large extent outside of the Midwest. So now that we have a lot in New York and in Vermont and places like that, we can sort of compare and see what effects are from the cultivar themselves and what effects from the variety, and that might change, really change the way that we make recommendations to our regional growers. So to go through these in detail, yeast trials are something that we all kind of like to do on a small scale in various regions, and they're things that are that growers seem to like. We always get more questions about, well, what do you recommend for this cultivar or that cultivar? And it's often just based on what we have been able to do in our own, small research projects, or what we've heard from different growers. And that's not necessarily a controlled setting. It's hard to do a controlled yeast trial when you don't have lots and lots and lots of grapes, lots of different fermentations going on. So what we have proposed to do in Iowa, Minnesota, and New York is to use the 4 University of Minnesota cultivars because they're the ones that we can get the largest quantities of, and make wine using the same yeast strains in Minnesota. Katie will certainly be doing the work that she has been doing. We're kind of basing our project on the U of M's ongoing optimization trials there. Grapes will be sourced from 2 places in New York, so that I can do some winemaking in Geneva, and we may actually be able to source from other places as well. I need to talk to some folks who are here today. And also, UVM Vermont is going to bring me their cultivars as well because they don't have a large winemaking facility, but we do, so we're able to do that. And we're also already doing some winemaking for the University of Connecticut and another grant that we're working on, so we can compare those as well. So now we have multiple sites and can sort of start to tease out some of those variables, so that's been fun. And actually, that picture on the left, you can see of Sarah from Vermont. They brought me the grapes this year so we could, get a head start and start practicing. So we already have 1 year of data that's in the works, which is nice. We'll have multiple years of data on that. The other thing that we really wanted to look at was volatile expression in aromatic whites, and we certainly know that Crescent, Frontenac Brie, and also Edelweiss are big sellers in our region, and they are all kind of the Germanic, very expressive, floral, fruity kind of grapes. And we haven't spent a lot of time, because as was just mentioned, and just mentioned, there are different phenolics in this grape skins, different aromatic compounds. We haven't spent a lot of time really systematically looking at what we can pull out during skin contact, how long we should leave it on the skin, that sort of thing. And so we have a project that will go on for 3 years, I believe, where we're going to see whether different skin contact times can optimize your flavor without extracting too much phenolic compounds that may give us bitterness, which can sometimes be a problem, and also looking at different enzyme treatments to see if that enhances our ability to extract. And again, I was able to do a small trial run of that this year because I kind of lucked into some Le Crescent and Frontenac Brie grapes. want things that are bigger and blacker all the time, as far as Petite Syrah and things like that. We really need to look at how to balance our tannins and perhaps find ways to produce reds that are a little more meaty. So we are both characterizing the polyphenolics that we're finding in the air, that kind of overlaps with what Anne was talking about, and also looking at enological additive trials. There's been some good data coming out of various research groups looking at how enological tannin additions interact with vinifera grapes, but no one's really looked at that systematically, again, with our party cultivars. And again, because I left it to some Marquette this year that I didn't expect to get, there will be a short presentation on some of this tomorrow when my student, Saturday. Celine Cocard-Linners looked at some of these extraction methods with Marquette. So we do have a little bit of data for you already on that. So we've got some fancy numbers there. And then of course acid management is our big issue. And so we divided that up into two arenas. Physiobiological deacidification, which as fancy as it sounds, really just means, using yeast and malolactic bacteria to reduce our acid, and blending and adding butter. So in Marquette and Frontenac, Katie is going to be looking at some malate-producing yeast strains, and really, again, trying to systematically run some tests on those instead of just relying on word of mouth. And also she's going to look at amelioration, which is sort of the old standby, which we all kind of say, yeah, you can add butter if you need to, but then we don't really look at how that affects sensory, how it affects our aroma compounds as the wine ages. So she's going to look at that in some detail. And then Frontenac Green and Crescent, we tend to shy away from malolactic fermentation with these whites, but there may be ways to perhaps do malolactic on part of it and then blend it back, so we're retaining green characteristics but dropping some acid. And so she's also going to look at that as well as amelioration. I, on the other hand, am going to be looking at chemical deacidification methods, and the one that we're really focusing on is sort of the double salt deacidification, which has kind of lost favor in the U.S., although it's still growing to some extent. And we're really curious to see if there's any way that we can slant the kinetics of that reaction in order to preferentially remove malic acid, because as I believe Paul mentioned, we do sometimes run up against a situation of having malic tartaric acid ratios that are skewed toward malic, which gives us some mouthfeel and some pH-TA problems that we don't really appreciate. So we are modeling this sort of interaction right now, and then are going to apply it to the Crescent, Frontenac Gris, and Frontenac Rosé, since this isn't something that we usually use with red wines, because it gives you some really funky results. And after we've done these sort of, Katie's been doing her trials, and I've been doing mine in isolation, we want to compare notes and see if we can then put together an optimizational trial where we'll be eating each other's experiments in both wineries in Minnesota and in New York to see if we get, again, predictable results or if there's reasonable variation. And so, again, we've been just in model solutions. This is an example of some of the data that we've been generating, looking at some double salt trials. You can see there's a blue, a red, and a green bar, which indicate model wine solutions, which again is just like water and alcohol and some compounds that kind of make it act like wine, that have different tartaric and malic ratios. And we're just trying to look and see if this double salt helps us to remove more malic than tartaric. And you can see already that after 8 hours, regardless of what sort of ratio we started with, we're pulling out about the same amount of malic acid. So we've got that piece of data ready to go. We know that it doesn't matter how much malic you start with. So it's going to make it more difficult, but it's good to know. So anyway, just to give you a taste. The other thing that we're looking at is a hybrid aroma. My colleague Gavin Sachs at Cornell has been working with Bruce Reich on some of his Riparia and Rupestris-based hybrids, and has found there that the green character that can be especially pronounced when the grapes are underripe is not just about methoxypyrazines. And if you read, gosh, even the popular press, Wine Spectator now talks about methoxypyrazines in Cabernet Sauvignon and unripe reds and this sort of thing. And we always kind of thought, well, maybe these cultivars also have a lot of methoxypyrazines, and we're dealing with the same, kind of green pepper issue. But Gavin is starting to identify some other compounds that both react differently during ripening and need to be treated differently both in the vineyard and in the winery. And so we are going to try to apply some of his research directly to the cold party cultivars to see if we're seeing the same sort of things and where our green character is coming from so we can better control it. So we've got some gas chromatography, olfactometry, mass spectrometry going on, which Anne showed you a picture of, so I will show you that. And then we'll basically, when we figure out what some of the compounds are, we'll take some box wine, we'll get some almond and mountain burgundy and spike some of these compounds back into it to see if then trained panel will say, oh, that one smells like, an underripe Frontenac, and then we'll know we're kind of on the right track. And finally, all of these trials would be relatively useless if we didn't do sensory evaluation as well, because the numbers tell you everything, but really our noses are more specifically attuned and more sensitive than any instrument we can use. So we do have plans towards the later years of this project, not early on, to look at both consumer preference testing, where people tell us basically if they like the wine or not, and we can judge some differences from there. And then if we see differences that we think are interesting, there are some characterization techniques we can use, something called projective mapping, where we can group wines based on similarities, and then the descriptive analysis, where you can end up with these defined lists of descriptors, so we can start to really talk to people about, well, we get a cherry component, and we define this cherry component as, black cherry, sort of thing. Also, one point that we decided is very, very important, as we're going to do as well, are informal industry tasting. So instead of just going to these sensory panels and coming to you and saying, look, our panel says that this wine has more cherry, we are going to make sure that we make enough wine that we can bring them to you and you can experience this for yourself, which is certainly a much more interesting learning than us showing you on